Welcome to World at Work TV. I'm Alison Avalos.
And I'm Kerry Chou.
Kerry, we're here today for our annual discussion of World at Work salary budget survey results, which have recently been published for 2015 and 2016. And to quote you, it's a bit of a resounding yawn in the results this year, with overall national averages for the U.S. at 3%, nice and flat. No growth since last year. We anticipated that we might see a slight increase. Certainly projections from last year indicated that, but things are just holding fairly steady. Doesn't mean there's no wage growth, but we're certainly not seeing a large change in what organizations are planning to budget year over year for pay increases. And a lot of the things that you and I have looked at over the last few months as we pour through all of the data as it comes in to prepare the report and a lot of other things, we've talked a little bit about kind of the macroeconomic picture and trying to help survey readers understand the context in which all of this is happening. But along with that conversation, I think it's also important to note that the macroeconomic picture doesn't necessarily explain everything that's happening with these numbers, and certainly shouldn't dilute kind of the bottom line concept here, which is that organizations are going to pay what they need to pay to attract and retain talent. So when you look at the labor market, you look at low unemployment, there just isn't a lot of movement in the marketplace that would warrant these higher increases in pay. So this convergence in the 2 to 4% range for a budget increase actually makes a lot of sense when you consider the entire picture.
Alison, if we look at the indicators, the supply and demand curve for labor, you know, there are many things that would indicate that budgets should be moving up. Unemployment's down. You know, there's lots of job openings. Job creation has been north of 200,000 for the past 6 months. So, been quite robust. It's been good. On the demand side, there's other positive signs. In terms of shortages, we have continued shortage in STEM, science, technology, engineering, math jobs. There continue to be massive openings for those positions. Healthcare, as the population continues to age. There are pockets of industry where there are many openings, and we also have a good supply of people that are unemployed, are looking for work. Unfortunately, we have people that are not looking for work because they've given up. So while on the one hand we have pockets of industry and areas of the economy where we have shortages and many job openings, we still kind of have this residual effect of many employees that don't seem to be able to hook up to these openings. We see a mismatch in the economy. Perhaps these workers don't have the right skills, but for whatever reason, although we're seeing positive indicators, budgets are not moving faster than we had necessarily expected.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think one of the things that I've really taken away from all of our conversations this year is the level of understanding about the macroeconomic picture and what's happening with a variety of indexes that we follow, and those who are tasked with making budget recommendations for their organizations are looking at. And there's certainly a benefit to understanding that landscape, so that should you be called into a meeting unexpectedly, or a member of senior leadership hears something on NPR or CNN one morning and says, hey, how is this going to affect us? Is this going to change our ability to get and keep who we need? It's incredibly important to understand that. But I also think the big takeaway for me has been, even with that broader understanding, you still cannot ignore the fact that salary budgets and pay increases are intended to reward those who are performing for an organization, helping them meet their desired business results. And if an organization can achieve those goals with modest pay increases, because it's what their competitive labor market is doing, and they're able to attract and retain who they need, we're likely looking at a similar picture for some time until something causes that balance to change between the supply and demand for labor.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Allison. The long-term picture, at least for now, looks quite similar to what we've been seeing. Slight increases or relatively flat percentage increase growth for the foreseeable future until organizations get to the point where they're not able to attract or they're having trouble retaining employees, and until that dynamic changes significantly from what it is today, we will probably see more of the same.
So while the overall numbers are flat in comparison to last year, when we look a little bit deeper, there's actually some interesting things going on. There are some variations by industry that are worth noting and taking a look at for your competitive labor market. But beyond that, there's also kind of this interesting but efficient use of funds that appears to be prevalent. We're still seeing heavy use of pay for performance, so the use of merit increases is high. We're also still seeing good differentiation between levels of performance. So high performers are making about 150% the size increase that your middle performers are making. And then we continue to see high use of variable pay programs that are targeting money towards those employees that are delivering the most for the organization. When you look at promotional increase data, we're actually seeing an uptick in the percentage of employees who are actually receiving promotional increases, as well as the size of increase they receive, which is now up to 8.4% for that 7.9% of employees who are getting an increase. So when you take all of this into account, you actually see some general improved efficiency, both with the use of your pay increase budgets, as well as variable pay plans and your promotional increases, whether you're budgeting for those as part of those other two budgets or separately. So there's a lot of good news in there for both employees and employers as they improve this efficiency and get the most bang for their buck.